In this video, you'll be learning how mindsets affect your life. What are mindsets? Mindsets are the ways in which you look at your life, your abilities, and things around you. It's the way you perceive the world. It's what gives you direction. Let me use this analogy to explain. If you wear, let's say, dark shades and you go outside, right? Like a tinted glass, right? You tend to see everything dark, even though the world is actually not dark. So that's kind of how like your mindsets are. If you have a dark mindset, if you have a shallow mindset, you had a negative mindset, you tend to see and perceive the world in a negative way, as opposed to, being positive. So like your mindsets are really just like, the way or a map that guides how you navigate your own life. What do you have to say about that?
So the way I see mindsets is you said it in reference to what could possibly be the the navigation of your life. If you're wearing the dark shades, everything around you would be dark, right? Because of those shades. But from the analogy that comes to mind is that a mindset can be related to like soil.
Okay.
Right. So anything you plant in a good soil would be good, right? Yeah. Anything you plant in a bad soil is ultimately dead, right? Because the ground itself is not making it. It's not produced. It's not fertile enough for it, and that's the way I see it. That your mind is that soil. So it doesn't matter how many good books you read or how many interesting people you interact with. If that mindset is bad or negative, eventually what you're receiving from those people would turn out like it would interact with your mindset and come out just as your mindset is. Same thing, if it's good information you receive and your mindset is a good fertile ground, eventually it will be the outshoots of that good soul, your good mind. So that's the way that I view your mindset.
So good. So it then means that whatever like your mind is equipped with, it positions you in a place to either, take life, whatever life throws at you as a challenge, or it's an opportunity for you to see as if you're defeated or not. Right? So, let's talk about the various ways your mindset can be programmed. Okay. Right? So I think sometimes we are programmed by our environment. When you're born, this kind of like a fixed mindset you're programmed with. Even though when you were born, you were not born believing things, but because of wherever you are, the surroundings you are, things that people who around you, like your parents or the people who are close proximity to you, you're going to pick up their mindsets, and that's what you're going to see your world, And if the people around you at that time where you're growing up are people who have negative thoughts, as the very defeated thoughts, maybe they think to themselves this is the best they can ever be. I don't think you can grow above that, and now that becomes a fixed mindset for you, and you can just find yourself you plateau at that point. You don't even see there's no possibility for you to even see there's anything beyond that, right? And I think a lot of us are in that position. A lot of us find ourselves in that position, and we don't even realize that that's what it is until you get exposed to different environments and you see people are quite ambitious, people are quite driven, and then you're wondering is there something wrong with me? It's just that thing about this programming for mindset.
So I think when you were talking, you mentioned the environment, right? So one mindset that I know that has forged me ultimately is the fact that for the most part of my life, right, even with my dad, my mom, is a thing where gadgets, right, they last long, right? If you get it, it's almost like in the way you got the gadgets, it's how it is until you are ready to maybe change it, right? So that's just how I am. So I take care of gadgets so much so that they are still probably needs to the point where I want to change it or I want to, get another one, right? But recently, it's like gadgets are just like after a short period of time, they stop working suddenly, right? So it's trying to in my mind, I'm telling gadgets don't die in my hand, right? Because that's the mindset that I have. It's a thing where I have to use it to a point where it has served me, right? And that's just the mindset that I have. And it's a thing where with my parents too, they would like get a couple of gadgets and stuff like that, even if it's an extension box, right? But before you use the new one, it's a thing where that one has served its purpose. Yeah. And even if that one spoils, there's a replacement immediately. So even when things spoil now, I have to get it. I can't be, managing and just patching things together. And that's the same thing. Even our mentor, Apostle Selma, he'll tell you, if something spoils, don't just be trying to fix it and manage things. It's a product of your mindset, right? And that's just one example. Yeah.
Wow, that's so powerful. Like thinking about it, just the way you're talking about, So what's now the challenge for you now? Are you saying now like things are spoiling in your hands now, or what?
Yeah, it's like suddenly.
So has your mindset changed towards that, or
no? It hasn't. It hasn't changed. So it's a thing where, even if it spoils, I want to use it to a point where it has served me. But even if it spoils, get over it and just replace it immediately and keep going. Right? Don't say this day, so I'll just sit down and relax and right.
Now I get you. I get you. So I mean, basically you're saying that now instead of like dwelling in that thing, you just let's see what's the next.
Yeah. What's the next?
Instead of dwelling there and
you have to move. Yeah.
So basically you have to allow yourself to grow. Yeah. Right? In essence, that's what she's basically trying to say. So if you see that you have gotten to a point where like you're kind of you've plateaued, like you feel like you can't make any progress anymore, then you probably just need to change things that you believe, expose your mind to more edifying materials and things that can actually, help you move from that current level of your understanding. It might just be that maybe you're just the smartest person in the room, and it's not always a good thing. I thought it might be good, but then it's not always a good thing to be the smartest person in the room, because then you're not challenged to want to grow. You need to position yourself with people who are more smarter than you, so that you can see the lapses, you can see where you need to grow, where you need to improve, and generally it gives you a desire for wanting more progress as opposed to just sitting down, right? So let's move on. So how do mindsets affect our lives every day? So now, if you're someone that generally believes that you're not smart, and you're someone who thinks that you're just bad at, like, for example, if you're someone that tells yourself you're not good at math, or you're not good at a certain thing, it's not just going to be limited to just that subject or whatever. It's going to apply to various things you're going to do, because your mind now thinks, since you say we can't do this, then that means we can't do any other thing. So it becomes quite challenging for you. But then, rather than saying that, I think it's better if we reframe the thoughts. Like, we need to say, this is difficult, but let me accept it as a challenge. How can I be able to scale past this? How can I scale past this hurdle? That's what you need to reframe your mind towards, right? So now, starting YouTube was a difficult thing because it was overwhelming. I've never done it before. But then, I didn't sit down now saying, because this is overwhelming, let me just put it on the side. What I did was, let me sit down and take up this challenge. Let's figure out, what do we need? What are the basics? Let's start from the little things. You see, that little shift in mind, you understand, helped me to now say, maybe this is the step I need to go. Rather than just being overwhelmed by the whole, that's how I feel you need to approach life generally.
Yeah, I'll come from the angle of relationships and dealing with people, which I think is very important as far as they are here on earth, right? There are some people that have the mindset of people that are not close to you, or maybe you meet someone new, that they are going to hurt you eventually.
Yeah.
You just, so let me say, for instance, my boss or a friend, you meet the person, and my natural disposition is everybody is good until you show your bad side, right? But on the other case, it could be that my friend, my boss, or that person just has this, I don't know, sometimes it comes from maybe they've experienced hurts before where they're just sort of closed. So you keep a distance.
It's quite natural. People put guards.
Yeah, it's like
themselves.
I'm not going to say much, I'm not going to do much, I'm not going to interact until you actually show yourself. While on the other hand, there are those people that the first day you meet them, they're just, sharing and just relating as much as they can, right? So I think that's another angle, is that some people have that disposition of, once you're a stranger, you're going to hurt me at some point. Which I don't think is the best, right? Because what you think about eventually would happen. What you focus on eventually would happen. But if you come in the disposition of people are actually good, genuinely, intricately, right? Until they show their bad side. So
Yeah, that's so true. We spoke about limiting beliefs last week, and ties into this, right? This concept of mindsets, because this is kind of like a continuous topic. Now, I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and from my conversation with the person, it just seemed to me as though what their problem was just a decade, let me not even say a decade, years and years of faulty mindsets, like programmed and engraved in their minds. Like they needed to do something that was the obvious thing to do, but they kept on like believing like they were just hitting a wall. Like they just believed that there was like an invisible wall in front of them, even though you could see that it was not really like there was no wall. It was just purely what was like in their head, and I kind of like suggested, okay, why don't we approach things this way? And then they were like, oh, okay, no. They made up an excuse, because that's always the natural thing to do. That's the more comfortable
to get out of this right now. So just give an excuse.
Find an excuse. So if you're someone who always finds excuses for when it comes to making an improvement or change in your life, I think you need to adjust that. Excuses are just they're cheap ways of burying yourself or burying your life. Don't make excuses for yourself. If there's any area of your life that needs improvement, definitely your mindset, I know, is one place that needs improvement. You must take the responsibility to just stop the whole jargons and be very intentional and work on your mind, because I tell you, you have no idea that what you're allowing to go into your mind has the potential to tarnish the next few years of your life. And that's just the truth. When you start reading something that is positive, it will surprise you in the next 3 to 5 days. You'll see how positive that can also be in your life. So it's the same thing. Whatever you put in your mind is what is going to eventually come out. So make sure that you're putting positive things in your mind so that you can begin to reframe your mindsets.
That's a good one. So I think we can just go on to talk about, now you mentioned you need to change your mindset, right? So now, how do we begin to even do that? Somebody just saying, okay, change your mindset, but how exactly can they begin to do that?
I mean, it's quite practical and simple. It's just to observe your mind, observe your thoughts. What are the things that are going through your mind? Because the moment you, for example, the moment you wake up in the morning, right, what's the first thing that is coming to your mind? Are you thinking negative? Do you smell? Do you get a sense of negative thoughts swirling through your head, or are you up and grateful?
Up and grateful.
Yeah, literally. Not everybody has reached that stage of being up and grateful. A lot of people, it's they prefer to just be asleep than even wake up, because the negativity that they are waking up to. So you need to observe your thoughts. You just need to observe your thoughts and check what is going through my mind right now. What is going through my mind? Is it blessing me, or is it causing, bringing me to a place of detriment and all of that. So you must observe your thoughts and be able to catch them and know what, because however you wake up in the morning is going to set the tone for like the day, right? So,
like, just to give an instance, yesterday night I prayed about a particular thing, right? And when I woke up this morning, the first thing my brother, like, he would say good morning of it, because I opened my room door, come out, he said good morning, and then the next thing that came out was something contrary to what I had prayed about, right? He didn't know, right? But he was just telling me that as per information, this is it. And my thought was, I had to catch my thoughts and say, we prayed about this yesterday, right? So you need to manage. And the way the day has gone, it's not something that, is the best way I would have wanted.
That's not the outcome.
Yeah, that's not the outcome I woke up, excited about, right? But it's still that I'm still positive about what is to come, right? So that's just to add to that. And now, the point that I would say is that you have to adjust your words. Right. Remember when I was talking earlier, I said nothing dies in my hand. Literally, that's my own mindset. Anything that they put, whether it's a particular task, a particular thing to do, a particular person, a particular book. So if you look at my books, right, that I read, once I'm done reading it, it doesn't look like someone read it. Like, it still looks fairly new, because that's just my mindset, that what you gave to me, what someone gave, I have to protect. Like, it has to still look excellent, right? And that's the same thing. I have that mindset of nothing dies, and I would say it, nothing dies in my hand, right? Because I have that ability, by the grace of God, to nurture life into that thing, right? So even though now circumstances are looking like things that my mindset is still nothing, I have to fight that, right? With the words. So for anybody watching, is even though there are negative thoughts around you, again, there was an episode where I heard from a man of God that you don't fight thoughts with thoughts, you fight thoughts with words. Okay. So that's where the words come in. You need to use your words, adjust the words that you've been speaking over yourself, over your family, over your destiny, to target those negative thoughts, like he mentioned. Yeah,
so good. Use your words. And then I think lastly, I would say celebrate some of your wins. Like, celebrate your wins, whatever. Like, no matter how small it is, you're able to record one podcast episode, celebrate that. If your goal is to get more followers on Instagram, celebrate it. If your goal is to get one more customer, celebrate it and be happy. You've made progress. You were not the same person yesterday, so you're a new person today. So whatever progress you keep making, it's good to acknowledge it, celebrate it, so that you get in the point of, positivity. It helps you build that positive culture. Because, hey, listen, you've spent decades being in a negative place, so you have to also understand that you have to take those steps daily and keep building on those positive energy. And that's what's going to help transform your mindset to a positive one. Celebrate whatever it is. You win an award, celebrate it and get back to work. Right? Don't dwell on it, but celebrate and move on to the next thing. And you must also be intentional about like personal development, in the sense that you must consume transformational materials, right? Transformational materials that will build your mind. Your mind is not going to build itself. It's not going to be. You can't pray for a new mindset. Like, you can't pray your way to having a new mindset. Yes, you can pray for God to give you the grace to lead you to the things, to the right materials, but you can't pray a new mindset in yourself. So you must understand this.
That's a good one. I think I was listening to Miles Monroe this morning, and he said, I think I've also heard that a couple of times, your mind or your brain is a muscle. Same way my hand is a muscle. Again, I was listening to Myron Golden rather. He said something that any area of pain indicates an area that you should strengthen. Right? So if your mind is something that is causing you pain because of the negative thoughts that keep flowing through there and just activating the actions and the reactions around your life, right? It's a thing where you need to train it. Like you go to the gym. Yes. So it's an indication that you need to strengthen that area. That's where the materials come in, right? The transformational books, messages, podcasts, all of those. So it's just to be intentional about feeding on that information. Yeah.
So good. Yeah, so I mean, there you have it, right? So just a little recap. What are mindsets? Mindsets, they are the lens through which you perceive the world, and those around you. And your mindset, like I said, has the ability to, either direct you to the right path or to the wrong side. So you make sure that you are feeding your mind with the right materials, so that you can be directed in the right place, right? And we also spoke about how to, start reframing your mindset, which means, you must acknowledge the thoughts you have. What kind of thoughts are you allowing to come into your mind? What are you feeding your mind? You must learn to catch your thoughts at the instant you perceive a negative thought immediately. Don't wait for it to build, because the moment you allow it to build, it's just going to change your mind, your whole emotions and all of that. And if you're not someone who is emotionally intelligent, you're going to spread that negative energy to the people around you. So you must learn how to control yourself, right? And then lastly is I would encourage you to build a routine towards your personal transformation. Be intentional about growing. Be intentional about building your mind, and stop making excuses. Please stop making excuses. I probably have excuses why I shouldn't record this episode, but I just have to show up and do it. Not even because of not even views or anything, but just because I need to show up. It's those who show up are the ones that discover. You only learn more when you do, right? So I would have, decided today I didn't wake up in the right side of bed. So you know what, no podcast episode. But now that's not it. I know there's someone out there who needs to hear this. So I would show up. Even if it's just one person, I would show up and sit down here and talk, even though I don't feel like it, right? But that's the same way you need to see the world. There are people out there who are waiting for that version of you. So my challenge to you this week is get up, fight those negative mindsets and those negative thoughts that are holding you back, and we'll see you on the brighter side, right? So thank you for joining us today. We'd love to see you on the next episode. Bye.